Okay, welcome to day 6, painting number 6 of our 31 Animals in 31 Days series. So if you want to see how I created the iguana for day 5, painting number 5, you can click in the link in the cards right above. Today I am going to be working on an elephant painting that we are going to use to catch up. So this is what it's going to look like. We have a pretty simple background and we are going to create an elephant. I've already done the chalk of this painting and the background yesterday because I was trying to just go really quick. So I didn't film painting the next 4 backgrounds that are going to be released, but that's okay. We'll go back to backgrounds in a bit. Yeah, so I'm gonna go paint an elephant. And that's it. We're gonna go over to how to create really in-depth skin texture, how to simplify creating lines, and why I decided to chalk the lines that I did as markers. And we'll get into it. Okay, so basically why I decided to chalk the lines I did is I put marks in all of the dark areas. You can see on the left ear, some of the kind of shapes I've drawn have X's in them. So that was just a marker that I had to identify them as shadowed areas. So it's kind of helpful when you're doing kind of a chalk outline to really pick areas that are gonna work with it. So for example, because I'm painting on a black background, areas that are shadowed, like the deep wrinkles, I'm just leaving black, like with the black background. I'm not putting paint on areas where there's chalk. I'm purposely avoiding them. And when I'm building up layers of starting dark and then adding highlights to it, there's a really organic way of kind of building up those deep wrinkles from the very beginning of your painting. And at the very end of the painting, I go over and I add some of the lighter wrinkles with a black liner. But to kind of build in the big wrinkles from the very beginning of your layering is a really great way to help make progress really quickly because it's already painted there. And I'm having a really fun time playing with my iridescent gold paint. I just picked this up in December and you can kind of see it's a bit on the forehead and the ear. I was kind of just playing around with how much I wanted to put in it. And black and gold is just such a classic color combination. And I thought that the warm tones of this elephant could really be accentuated by using this gold. So I'm using this gold as pretty much my yellow tone to warm up my browns. And in every light area, I'm kind of painting with 50% white, 50% this iridescent gold. And I mix that from the beginning. There's only about 4 colors on my palette. There's this 50-50 gold and white split. There's black, there's a brown, and there's like a warm medium. It's kind of like a dark yellow brown. There's that as well. Those are the 4 colors that I put on this palette there. Yeah, and I didn't really know what to do around the eye because it did have a lot more finer details. But at this point, I was just trying to throw paint on there and get it on. I also ended up going a bit too warm for the trunk, so I had to come back in with kind of like a transparent black and knock a lot of that color back in a little bit. But my goal here was to try and have the face be very pushed forward in the painting and have the ear a lot more subtle. And the way to do that to create contrast is either having direct contrast in like the sharpness of your lines, but also warm colors jump forward and cool colors jump back. So it's kind of a little bit of color theory that I use often in my artwork to try and add perspective and depth into your paintings. And I just use a Q-tip with a little bit of water to get rid of the chalk after I kind of don't need the line anymore. And that's by far the most satisfying of this entire process is getting rid of the chalk that's slightly outlining your paintings. I've gotten a lot of questions on Instagram about the chalk that I use. It's just chalkboard chalk. For my murals, I use like sidewalk chalk, but it's not about getting the preciseness of the line in the exact place. Your eye, when you're actually painting the photo, is what's gonna choose the final placement of everything. But it just helps me anyway get rid of the blank canvas, and it's such a low commitment way to sketch on some things quick
Sometimes I use a projector to put on the chalk outlines, especially if I'm painting people. You really notice if a nose is slightly off center to somebody's face, even more so than you do with animals. But using a projector is just such a great tool to get that initial kind of outline in the right place, so you don't spend a lot of time painting, you know, a tusk really detailed and then realize like, oh, I wish that was, you know, a centimeter to the left or something like that. It just helps get the initial proportions in. Now we're working on the ear. So this painting is going pretty quickly. I haven't tallied the final hours yet, but I'll put it in the description below how many hours I spent on this one. And we're just trying to make sure that I don't make the ear too light. There's a lot more light there, but we wanted to make sure that we still had the most contrast in the nose, so it still jumps forward a bit. So we're just trying to get the loose patterns of the ear, and I'm not really focusing too much on getting the ear details exact because it is further away, so I kind of wanted to keep it a little fuzzy. So now I'm playing with that finer line work that I mentioned, just kind of going over the deeper shadows to make sure that they're still pretty sharp in the middle of them. And I'm also adding these fine lines to try and build up some of that texture in the trunk. Elephants' trunks are so wrinkly. You could draw hundreds of lines and still not have them all. So it's more about just capturing the essence of it. And you've got to get the eye sparkle in. A trick too with eyelashes is in the photo, the eyelashes were entirely black. You couldn't even distinguish them, but I really think it's important to be able to see the individual lashes. So I added a really light brown to the eyelashes to try and help add that texture. And then I painted over them with black again, so you can kind of, when you're looking at it up close, you can see the individual eyelashes. And doing these fine lines, even up close like this, it's hard to make it not look like a grid. You really want to have some lines end and some lines start and kind of have that wavy pattern. If I was going to spend a lot more time on this, I would try and build up some of those like individual shapes within the wrinkles, because it's more of like a circular texture, not a box texture. But this is what we have with this amount of time, and from over 2 feet away it looks great. So that's how you paint really textured elephant skin.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this time-lapse tutorial of how to paint really textured skin like you find in elephants. If you're enjoying videos like this and want to check out my whole playlist on how I painted 31 animals in 31 days, you can check out the playlist over there below. And we will see you around the internet very soon. Tomorrow I'm going to paint a whale and a fox. We're going to try and do 2 paintings in the same day, not edit any videos, and we'll try and make some strides to catch back up. So we'll see you there.